Hey guys, Jacob Scott, Lowrance product expert, and today I'm going to talk to you about custom shading on your Lowrance HDS and TI units. Now the great thing about this is the custom shading gives you the ability to set your charts up with safe boating depths or fishing depths so you can use your maps the way you want to. Okay guys, let's talk about custom shading. You can set the unit up so that different depths are different colors when you use custom shading. And this is great if you're out running and you are in your boat and you want to make sure you don't go too shallow or something like that. If you have a boat that has a deep draft, you can set it up for that so that you can see on your map where you can't go. It's also great when you're fishing. You can set the colors up to kind of show what you want, where you kind of, if you're catching fish in a certain depth of water, you can highlight it with the custom shading. So let's show you how. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to set up the custom depth shading on your unit. Now remember, the important thing that you need to know about this is you have to use one of our CMap cards to get the custom shading to show up. So we're going to go under more options, we go to chart options, and then we scroll down just a little bit and you can see where it says shading. I'm going to go ahead and touch that, and you have depth 1 and depth 2. So this is great because you can set it up for the shading to, you can have two different palettes set up and ready to go however you want to do it. So to set them up, we're going to go to custom right here, and you can see custom 1 and custom 2. So now I'm going to go ahead and start setting up the colors on how I like them. So right here where it says 0, I'm going to touch that. And you can see these colors can be changed. So since 0 is a bad thing, I'm going to set that to red. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and touch the second one down. The depth was set at 40 feet, but I want to change that to 5 feet. And then I want to change this color to orange. And then I say OK. So now that I've got that one set to orange, my next one I'm going to do, it says 80 feet. I want to change that to 10 feet, and I'm going to set it to yellow. So by changing all of these, what that allows is it gives me the ability to know just kind of where these color depth changes are and things like that. And then using colors that are kind of matching yet contrasting, that helps in the fact that these change on a gradient. So like from 5 to 10 feet, it's not going to go instantly from one color to the next. It's going to kind of start gradually changing that color. So my next one, it is set at 120 feet, and I really want it to be at 20 feet. So we'll just change that to a 0. And then I'm going to change that to green, because I know if I'm in 20 feet of water, I should actually be really good to go and kind of safe to run. Then after that, my next one, I'm going to change that to 40 feet. Now you can set these depths at just whatever you like. It's whatever you're comfortable with. So for a little bit of contrast at the 40-foot range, I'm going to set that to white. So now you can see I've used all of the colors that were there. If I want to add more depth lines, then all I have to do is say add point and tell it what depth I want it to change at. So I'm going to do this one at 75. And then at 75, I'm going to make it kind of a blue color. And then I want to add one more point, and I'm going to change that out to 150. And I'm going to use that dark blue color for it because that's the color I like. So now that I've got all of those set, I hit X out of here. And then if I turn on depth shading 1, wow, look how that map changes. So you can see where the shallow is, the red, that's kind of that 0-foot mark. And so it gradients out to my next color point, which is orange at 5 feet. So as I zoom in here, you can see how that gradient changes out from 0 feet to 5 feet where it's nice and orange. And then I go to yellow at 10 feet. And as you can see, as we move out to the yellow, to the 10-foot range, it kind of changes there. And then green into the 20-foot. So you can see the gradients start to change in the 11, 12, 13, and how we get out here into the 20-foot and it goes green. And then 40-foot is white, and above 40-foot is that light blue. And then if I get into some really deep pockets, which I don't have on this lake, over 150 feet, it's going to be a super dark blue. But as you can see, that really shows, it pops. It shows an area I may want to fish. It's amazing. And the other thing that you can do with it is if you get out here and you can look in some of these lakes and some of these areas, and as we zoom in, you can see stuff that starts to pop. I know one of the lakes that I saw this on, we'll just go ahead and zoom out here. And I'm going to scroll over to a different lake that I go to quite often. Some of y'all may have heard of it, Grand Lake of the Cherokees. There's been several Bassmaster Classics that have been fished there. But if we come in here and we just zoom in and let's look at this with this gradient. I mean, wow, look at this. See this red island? I mean, that just pops up right in the middle. So if you weren't paying attention, you might run aground if you were running just looking at a map. So let's go ahead and turn my depth shading off real quick and you can see what I'm talking about. So I've turned it off. So if you just look at that map, you might think, all right, instead of following this channel around, I can just cut right through there. With this depth shading on, look at that. I mean, if I were running through there, I would know, hey, I've got to avoid that spot, because if I'm running through there full throttle, I've got a chance of winding up beached, and that would not be a good thing when you're kind of out in the middle of the lake. So using your custom depth shading is great for things like finding humps to fish, because you can see the contour change. Again, it's good for finding these spots that really much come up out of the water. It doesn't necessarily show that it's an island right there. And if the lake's down low, you're definitely going to have an island there. But if the lake's at a normal pool level or a little bit high, it's going to show you that, hey, if you're going to run through this area, you need to be careful because there's a shallow spot. All right, guys, so those are just a few ways that you can use this custom shading on your Lowrance units to give you the features and the ability to use it how you want to, whether you're boating or fishing.